Thought I'd shoot a little video of a portion of what's abbreviated as the Dallas Union Terminal. Formerly, we call it the Union Terminal Company, Dallas, Texas. That's a bit cumbersome to continuously type, but DUT for short. So this is the Tower 106 section. If we're at a setup, this would be north. This would be going west. Obviously, this would be south. This end, pretty close to prototype for a lot of aspects. So these were the TMP mains, Texas Pacific, now Union Pacific, and this is the lead it came off of. This is the passenger lead it came off of the TMP. This one rolls down into almost immediately into the triple underpass. Dealey Plaza, made famous in infamous in 1963. These two mains be the Rock Island and the Katy. These continue up into one of the three Fremo ends. That's one of them there. This comes around, there's one more module set this way, this Timmins Freeway portion that also ends on a Fremo end. More passenger leads. All of these 1, 2, 3, these converge on top of the triple underpass. There's a double crossover with a couple of double slips. Very complex track work sitting on top of a bridge. Recent discussion about Yaron's Bridge. That's where the MP5s go over here. This is a house track. Katy actually had 2 of these. We did 1. They parked business cars, stuff like that. We'll have 1 track, little storage. And then this was, I think it's the Pacific Avenue track that went over. Continues downtown Dallas. Ours terminates. This will be a switcher pocket. This is the north switcher job. We'll start. The prototype actually had diamonds here. This track was actually curved. In HO, we can't make diamonds this shallow because of the flange width we have to have. Things can walk. So to make this work, the movable point diamonds is what we utilize here to make this work in HO scale. And obviously this is straightened out instead of having the radius. It could probably be done today with what Jeff Otto Oak Hill's doing now. But these were built, this is the second oldest module. These were framed back in, I want to say October, November of 2015. These movable points were actually built, I think the summer before that. So I think these are back from the summer of 2014. Or maybe 15, maybe summer of 15 when I started building these and this is what the success of this layout hinged on, was whether or not these actually work, and they do. So there's 3 here. There's 1 more here. I think that's it. I think that's the only ones we got. There are a lot of 2 or 3 double slips and 1 single slip else on the railroad. So I use extensively the Iowa Scaled Engineering Opticals. I love how these things hide in between the ties. So this haven't been painted. This is what it's actually supposed to look like. Here we go. Here's another set that's properly painted. You can see they blend in. Prawn Designs, Bob Shrimp makes the mount for these. You drill, these are 1-inch holes. I believe they're 1 inch. And then these go from the bottom side, mount between the ties, and they hide great. So when you're looking at these from the side, I mean, it's almost impossible to tell that they're even there. Lots of opticals on this thing. I ordered a package of 100 opticals from Iowa Scaled. I think Dallas is going to use about 85 of them. Still more to add here, another half dozen or so. But all the signals, our friends at Debbie Showcase Miniatures, they make some beautiful signals. Dwarfs used pretty much off the main. There is a set of double-headed dwarf signals that will have to go on the main for clearance issues. Only change on these, really, these are supposed to be glued. A change that I made is on assembly is I drill a hole between the base and the head. These were braking, track maintenance, stuff like that. And so I'll put .020 piano wire. Let's see if this Apple iPhone can focus. But 20 thousandths or the hundredths. whatever it is, 0.020, tens, hundreds, yeah, it should be hundreds. Piano wire, and that's helping to keep these things in place a whole lot better. So we do have some signals working. Been playing with the signals. We're about 80% on the north end right now. So I got clears, got the route lined up, but I got the Iowa scaled. It sounds like a promotional video for Iowa scaled, promise is not. But I can set the tester here. You can see we can get flashing yellows. And I can set low, and then obviously we can say that one's occupied and get the red we're supposed to have. So, and then the same thing with the so the optical detectors. When you start making use of those, covering those up, those will trip them as well. So, but that's the front side. The main lines are all code 83. Other than main is all code 70. The original plan, of course, I used the Midwest supply cork. What is that, 1/8 inch, something like that. I used a similar cork material from Hobby Lobby or Michaels, that same size underneath for the larger sections turnouts. The original plan was to use an N-scale cork, about a massive sheet of that, because I wanted everything other than main at a lower profile. The issue is right here. So if I came off at HO to end cork, we would have an abrupt dip. That wasn't easily overcame, so it was just everything, all the tracks at the same height. The exception is this house track, and we get over to the Y because there's sufficient room there to change the grade. So come around to the back side. Here's another module. So this is the back side of this is Houston Street, the Houston Street viaduct that was on the south side. Some of the electronics that are in use. This is the back side of the Union Station set. This is where the majority of the platforms and everything are. Last time most people saw this one, it was just bare plywood and some foam. So I got some scenery coming along on that one. Not so much yet. The new platforms that are going on, those are coming. The biggest challenge right now is to get this Tower 106 out of the way. Take a look at the back side of this thing, and why in the world is this taking a decade to complete? And part of it is just the sheer scale of it. This is one of 10 module sections. 2 of them are kind of small, but so this is the back side of 106, and this is the most complex junction, or most complex junction and module set, period. Lots of tortoises, utilize those. Also do make use of the MP5s. Do I have one on this end? I guess maybe it's on this end. No, maybe I don't have one on this module. Maybe it's the other one. The MP5s, if you're space restricted, they work great, but there are 64 frogs on the Dallas Union Terminal set. Like the double crossover, that one's got, 4 in it? So I count number of frogs that have to be routed. But these are the brains. So Dallas is 100% MSS compatible. So the MSS, this is what I plugged in with the MSS tester. Here's one for that track. There's one for that track. This is something, if you do have double track MSS, for the guys that set up, please separate them so you very clearly know, hey, this MSS connector is this track, and this one, we've seen them before where they're mounted side by side or one on top of each other, and they label 1 and 2 or west and east, or 7 or 8 or whatever, and of course the guys underneath on their knees stringing cables, they don't have any idea what's what. So recommended, if you do have double track MSS, separate them so we clearly know what's what. This is the back side of the Big Dogs and Prawn Designs. Is there one more I'm missing? Michael was in on this one maybe, but the removable signals. Lots of tortoises, lots of current detectors, lots of optical detectors. This is the Signal Logic Systems brain that runs Dallas. So there is a software program and a file on a laptop that's hooked up. The black here is a CTC bus. This is what plugs into the computer. And then all the track turnout positions, current detectors, optical detectors, comes in, signals, and turnout positions go out. So this is what makes Dallas a fully towered interlocked CTC module set. So the routing and signals comes from the tower operator. What makes this MSS compatible are these two little guys called E-codes. Obviously a single track, there'd be one. I've got double track, so there's two. But the E-codes, and Kevin Canada can let you know what that stands for, because I don't have any idea. But these plug into the brains, and this is just Cat5, goes down obviously to the Keystone port there and plugs into the next guy downstream who has MSS. So this receives MSS inputs, which you saw when I was using the MSS tester earlier, and it would send out the same. So the next Signal-Mo or Signal-Equip module downstream would show the correct indication based upon what Dallas is doing. So mix of Iowa scale Atom and Signal Logic Systems current detectors. So basically with the bigger blocks of track, large sections of main line where I can run 14 gauge through, I'll do that. For the smaller sections, what I can do, I think it was 18 or 20 I can get in there. I'll use those for the smaller sections. Dallas was built on 3/4 birch ply, 1/2-inch deck. I know some of the Speedmo guys and some of those guys are using a waffle frame construction. That stuff looks like would be pretty good. I come from a framing background on houses, so that's why Dallas is built the way that it was. Plus I knew it'd probably take me the rest of my life to finish this thing. So a lot of documentation on this. Let me see if I can find a manual. So there's a manual that's being built, and God help anyone who tries to do this when I'm dead. But so here's the Dallas book. So diagrams, track plans, wiring schematics, what was wired which way, I/O documentation, stuff like that. So, but that's Dallas, or portions of it. I got 3 pieces in here. The reason why this thing is taking, the MP5s. Are we at a decade? Coming up on a decade. I have to go back and look. It's November, December, sometime it's coming up. So here's the MP5. I think this is mentioned on the list the other day. They are considerably different than the Tortoise, but I do like them. So here's another one. This one is very space constrained. And there's adjustment on the end of these where here we go, I'll show you this one. So you set your wire, I'm not a very good camera operator. So you set the wire, and that thing slides with the gear just horizontally back and forth, back and forth. There's a set screw and adjustment screws. So on this one, you can see there's a hole in the end plate. Of course, I got the module partially created right now, so we can't look at it, but that hole in the end plate allows screw access to make the adjustment needed, and that one was for, turn it right here, set right on the edge. So that was one of the challenges of Dallas, was when we were trying to design this track work and then break down where do we physically break the modules at, right? And there are instances where current blocks break not where the module ends. So there's some things that, some U nodes that Signal Logic came up with to help address some of those issues on the modules. This one's getting closer to done scenery-wise. The platform tracks will stand closer. There was a baggage area. We got some stuff to do, but it's at this point, the way it sits, I think most run chiefs would be okay with how this section looks at a setup. The next emphasis module will be this one. So this is the Union Station. Dallas actually had 5 platform tracks, which would have taken out, this thing would have been massively wide. So the module's got 3 platforms. Maybe I said that wrong. Dallas had 5 platforms, 10 tracks. The module has 3 platforms, 6 tracks. The 7th one was called a mail track. A lot of pictures of sealed mail cars, so bulk sacks of mail being taken back. If you look at Dealey Plaza, the pictures from the Kennedy event, you see a white building on the south side. That was the federal building. There's a postal annex there. So this track was primarily used for unloading mail. We'll kind of use it for whatever, but this is one of the exceptions to the grade. This Kelly track, we call it the Kelly lead. It does step down. This is the north leg of the Y. And then there's a module that goes between the end of that one and this one. It's 4 feet, but here we see other portions of the Y. So you can see that there's another portion, and then I think a lot of people have seen the trestle, the Trinity tail. This was built on the banks of that's the reason for the grade, but on the banks of the Trinity. That's why you have the slope. And so the tail of the Y was actually built on a trestle out above the floodplain for the Trinity. Now it's been filled in. It's a parking lot for Indian Tower or something like that. So we're getting close to 10 years of construction on this. The Tower 107 section that goes south of here, it's about 80% scenery. It's about a similar situation as this. We got some components coming up. Had some 3D printed. The inner urban bridge we installed. There was a big tower that was installed right here, like a radio tower. Building the structures coming as we can. This will be the next focus item. And then the next one is what's called Federal Curve, which starts to wrap around. So Dallas is probably sitting about 70% scenery total right now. Should be closer to maybe 85%, 90% by the end of the year. And I'll save that last 10% for finishing up different buildings and to the point where we ever get this thing quote unquote finished. The next setup for this scheduled is in Oklahoma City, November 15, 16, I think that's right, the Oklahoma City Train Show. Brett and guys up there have been, looks like they're going to get some Space Wars to get this thing set up. We're excited about that. That's it. 10 years. Hopefully the next 10 brings a lot more operations and a whole lot less building.